but only half the people able to eat. But that's no mind, they're there. It's like holding hands at a seance with your friends, but some of the friends are gone.
Look! Oh, look there!
On top of a mound of white sugar skulls was one with the name Pipkin on it. Pipkin's sweet skull, but nowhere, in all the explosions and dancing bones and flying skulls, was there so much as one dust speck, or whimper, or shadow of Pip. They had grown accustomed to Pip's leaping up in fantastic surprises on the sides of Notre Dame, or weighted down in gold sarcophagi that they had expected of him, like a jack-in-the-box, to pop from a mound of sugar skulls, flap sheets in their faces, cry dirges. But no, suddenly, no Pip at all, and maybe no Pip ever again. A cold wind blew in from the lake.
What do you think, lad?
I don't know. I only know I had enough. Ugh. That night's been too long. I seen too much. I know everything. Gosh, everything.
Yeah.
And we've got to get home, don't we? What about Pipkin? Where is he?
Is he alive or dead? Can we save him? Is he lost or are we too late?
What do we do?
What?
Mr. Mountroud, what do we do?
To save Pipkin, one last thing. Look up this tree. Halloween piñatas, devils, ghosts, skulls, witches, all swaying in the wind. Here, take your sticks. Break your piñata, boys. Strike!
From the skeleton piñata, 1,000 small skeleton leaves fell in a shower. They swarmed on Tom. The wind blew skeletons, leaves, and Tom away. And from the mummy piñata fell hundreds of frail Egyptian mummies, which rushed away into the sky, Ralph with them. And so each boy struck and cracked and let down small vinegar gnat dancing images of himself, so that devils, witches, ghosts shrieked and seized, and all the boys and leaves went tumbling through the sky with Mountroud laughing after. They ricocheted in the final alleys of the town. They banged and skipped like stones across lake waters to a land rolling in a jumble of knees and elbows on a yet farther hill. They sat up.
Where are we? Looks like an abandoned graveyard. No people, no lights, just stones that look like wedding cakes.
This iron rung in the earth.
What's that? A trap door? What's down there?
Catacombs?
Catacombs.
Is Pip down there?
Go bring him up, boys.
Is he alone down there?
No. Things are with him. Things.
Who goes first?
Not me.
Me.
He put his foot on the first step down. He sank into the earth. He took another step. Then suddenly, he was gone. The others followed. They went down the steps in single file. With each step down, the night became deep as a well. With each step, shadows waited, and strange things seemed to smile at them from the long cave which waited below. Bats seemed to be hanging clustered just over their heads. With each step down, the town got farther away, and the earth and all the nice people of the earth. Even the graveyard above seemed far away. They felt lonely. They felt so alone they wanted to cry. At last, at the bottom of the stairs, they peered into the long cave, the long hall, and all the people were there and very quiet. They had been quiet for a long time. Some of them had been quiet for 30 years. Some had been silent for 40 years. Some had been completely mum for 70 years.
There they are.
The mummies?
Mummies.
A whole line of them, standing against the wall.
On both sides of the wall.
And 4 of them, waiting at the far end, in the dark.
Must be 104 of them.
104 dry as dust mummies? Abandoned here? Left below, far from dog barks and fireflies and the singing of men with their guitars in the night.
Oh boy, all those poor people. I heard of them.
What?
Their folks couldn't pay the rent of their graves, so the gravedigger dug up these people and put them down here. The earth is so dry, it makes mummies out of them. And look, see how they're dressed?
He looks like a farmer. She was a peasant, I think.
A businessman. And look, a bullfighter.
They're all thin bones and stand in spiderweb and dust.
What's that?
What's that?
Listen.
Oh.
Why, that's Pip. Only heard him cry once, but that's him. Pipkin. And he's trapped there in the catacomb.
But where?
I thought I just saw something. Straight ahead in the distance. Yes, see it? Her finger just moved. And the shoulders. His face is covered with his hands.
Pipkin. Is that you?
Yes.
Pip, for cry-eye, what are you doing here?
I don't know.
Come out.
I can't. I'm afraid.
But Pip, if you stay there...
Pip, you gotta come out. I can't. They won't let me.
They?
To get out, I'll have to go through them. All the way down the hall.
They can't stop you, Pip.
Oh, yes they can. I'm afraid to come out.
And we're
afraid to go in.
Maybe if we choose one brave one.
But the mummies are waiting, and it's so dark that we might sink right through the floor if we step on it and never move again.
And the floor will grab our ankles and hold us. The cold freezes us into a dry dust statue forever.
Maybe if we just went in a mob, all of us. Let's go.
Break the door! We can't do this.
Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Him afraid to come, us afraid to go. What?
Here, boys. Save him with this.
Skull candy. And it says Pipkin on it.
Save Pipkin, lads. Strike a bargain.
With who?
With me and others unnamed. Break this skull in 8 delicious bits, boys. Hand them round. P for you, Tom. An I for you, Ralph. And half of the other P for you, Hank. The other half for you, JJ. And some of the K for you, Wally. And some for you, Hackles. And here's the final I for you, Fred. And then for George, the final N. Touch the sweet bits, lads. Listen, here's the dark deal. Do you truly want Pipkin to live?
Yeah!
There, I see you mean it. Well then, will you each give 1 year from the end of your life, boys?
What?
I mean it, boys. 1 year. 1 precious year from the far-burnt candle end of your life. With 1 year apiece, you can ransom dead Pipkin.
A year?
A year?
A year?
A year?
Why, sure. Why not?
Think, boys, think. This is no idle bargain struck with nothing. I mean it. It is true and a fact. It is a grave condition you make and a grave bargain you strike. 1 year each of you must promise to give. You won't miss the year now, of course, for you are very young. And I see by touching your minds, you cannot even guess the final situation. Only later, 50 years from this night, or 60 years from this dawn, when you are running low on time and dearly wish an extra day or so of fine weather and much joy, then's when Mr. D for Doom or Mr. B for Bones will show up with his bill to be paid. Or perhaps I will come, old Mount Shroud himself, a friend to lads, and say, deliver. So a year promised must be a year given over. I'll say give, and you must give. What does that mean to each of you? It will mean that those of you who might have lived to 71 must die at 70. Some of you who might have lived to be 86 must cough up your ghost at 85. That's a great age. A year, more or less, doesn't sound like much, but when the time comes, boys, you may regret. But you will be able to say, this year I spent well. I gave for Pip. I made a loan for life for sweet Pipkin, the fairest apple that ever almost fell too early off the harvest tree. Some of you at 49 must cross life off at 48. Some at 55 must lay them down to forever sleep at 54. You catch the whole thing intact now, boys? Do you add the figures? Is the arithmetic plain? A year! Who will bid 365 entire days from his own soul to get old Pipkin back? Think, boys.
Yes, I'll give you a year.
And me.
I'm in.
Me.
Me too. Count me in.
Me.
Yup, me too.
Do you know what you pledge, boys? You do love Pipkin, then?
Yes! Yes!
Yes! Yes!
So be it, boys. Chew and eat, lads. Eat and chew. Swallow darkness, boys. Give up 1 year. It's done.
Here I come!
And along the hall and between the rows of mummies, which leaned out to stop but did not stop, between the silent shrieks and screams, hell-bent, rushing, racing, flinging his feet, pumping his elbows, puffing his cheeks, shutting his eyes, snorting his nostrils, and bang, bang, banging the floor with his up and down feet came...
Pipkin! Look at him! Come on, Pip! Pip, we're halfway!
Look at him race!
Come on, Pip! Come on! You can do it! Don't stop now, Pip! Don't look back! Don't fall down!
Here he comes! 3/4 of the way!
Pip ran the gauntlet. He was good and fine and fast and true. Between 100 waiting mummies he ran without touching and did not look back and... won the race! But Pip kept running. He plowed them aside and raced upstairs, gone!
Pip! It's all right. Come back. Come on, after him!
Where's he going, Mr. Mountshroud?
Well, I should imagine, scared as he is, home.
Is Pipkin saved?
Let's go see, boys. Up!
Moundshroud spun about like a whirlwind. His arms flung out, cut the air, slicing grabs and swoops. So fast he spun that he made a vacuum, a self-made storm. This cyclone, this huge upsuck of air, then seized the boys by ear, nose, elbow, toe. Like so many leaves stripped from a tree, they yelled themselves into the sky. They hit the clouds like an explosion of gunshot. They followed Moundshroud like a flock of north-rushing birds heading home before their season. The earth seemed to give a turn from north to south. 1,000 small villages and towns spun together, alight with candles in tomb yards through all of Mexico.